Hey everybody, this is Joe Workman, and what can I say? Hey, Stacks 2 is here, and it is amazing. Okay, Isaiah has completely outdone himself, so I just want to do a really quick tutorial. I'm not going to go too far in depth, just going to give you the basics of what's changed between Stacks 1 and Stacks 2. Okay, so if we notice, we have a new beautiful UI. We now have the same kind of style of Stacks drop zone in the center. The settings HUD is gone. We now have a nice settings pane on the right. And our Stacks library, where that used to be, now has its own little HUD-like window. Okay, it's now called the Stack Elements library. And if you notice, there's three things here. We have Stack Elements, Stack Templates, and Stacks Media. Let me go over what these are. So quickly, Stack Elements are what we used to know as the Stacks library. As you'll notice, there are a lot of new default stacks. Isaiah really provided some really great new default stacks here for us to use, from buttons to more grids to a nice little quote stack, things of that nature. So let's go ahead and look at some of the new stack settings. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a simple one column stack into here, a text stack. And when you highlight that stack, you'll see that there is new default settings here. Background type is none by default, which was the same before, transparent background. You can also have a solid color. So if you want your background to be a solid color, or you can also have tiled image, which basically allows you to drag and drop an image, and that image will be tiled in the background. Great new feature. That's an awesome feature. And one thing you've noticed as I've flipped through these, as I change these settings, the other settings change and reflect or hide based on the setting that I chose. That's pretty revolutionary, actually. Now we have border. As before, you can change the border color and border width. Okay. However, there's now a great detailed border width option, which allows you to define a different width per border. Now you could do this before, but you had to go into the advanced settings option within Stacks. Now it's all available directly in the settings pane. We do have a new setting. We have an option to add rounded corners to our stacks, which are nice. And again, this is an option for every single stack out there. And of course, just as borders, you can click on detailed rounding and have a different rounded corner for every single corner. Okay, layout. Layout, this has to do with the width and size of your stack. The default, which is what most of the time you're going to use, is fill, which is basically 100% width. However, we do have other options here. We have flexible, which allows us to say we have the width at 59%, and then we want that left, center, or right. Okay. We also have fixed size, which allows us to define a fixed size. So if we know we want our stack to be exactly 250 pixels, we can definitely do that. And last but not least, there's also a float option, which allows you to define your stack width, and then it will actually float that. Okay? And last but not least, we have padding and margins. Now, previously in Stacks 1, the default margin was 2 pixels and the default padding was 5 pixels. That is no longer. The defaults are now always going to be 0 and 0. So if you would like to change the margin or the paddings of your stacks, you can definitely do that. And as before with other settings, if you click on the detailed margin, you can affect the margins of all the particular areas, top, bottom, left, or right. And the same for padding. So that has to do with the new settings for every single stack that's out there. Every stack has these settings. Now there's something also cool that's probably not apparent, but every text box within Stacks now has some new text HTML formatting options. So when you select your text, you'll notice that a new setting pane has opened up on the right. And here you can adjust font size, font weight, line spacing if you want it double or triple spaced. Do you want letter spacing to be large? Do you want the word spacing to be extra big? Do you want it to be automatically capitalized? So when you go, we'll see that I've now affected my text so that my letter spacing is bigger, my word spacing is bigger, and I've auto-capitalized every single word. Some great, really great new settings to help you guys out here. Now there's some also great new settings for images. So if we have a look at the image stack in here, we'll drop this in really quick. Let me add a new image into here. Okay, now if you double click on that image, we now enter the image editing zone within Stacks. And here, just as before, you can add border, you can add a blur or offset shadow, you can rotate your image, you can constrain the size, you can give it an alt tag. All the things that we used to be able to do before are now available still inside this area, along with a couple other new options such as max height and max width. And when you're done editing your image, just go ahead and click done, and you're back to your Stacks page. Now the next thing that we're going to go over is templates. Now these are completely new, and all the templates that you see here are out of the box. And basically they're a way of providing groups of stacks for users. So it's a way of doing maybe a nice little 3-column text with headers. Or there's, I particularly like this little pull quote template, which allows you to have text along with a little quote on the side. So developers can actually build templates and save them for yourself inside this template library. Now the last option here is media. Now Stacks themselves can ship with their own media. Gone are the days where whenever a stack shipped with multiple images, it would publish all 200 of those images for every single page. Now Stacks, if they were upgraded to 2.0, can support Stacks Media, which allows me to insert media into this pane that you can use within any stack on your website. So for instance, if I added, let's say, this text stack back in here, let's add a little bit more text. Okay, let's go ahead and add a background tiled image. So basically, for this tiled image that I showed you earlier, you can go ahead and drag one of these images directly in, and you'll notice that you now have that as your background image for that stack. Okay, this is awesome. It allows developers such as my new Vimeo wall stack. I provide a different set of navigation bullets if you wanted to override the ones that actually are default that ship with the stack. So this provides developers to give you more options and flexibilities for customizing stacks with new and different images. Now some other things that have changed in Stacks is you'll notice that there are 3 different view modes up here in the middle. Now the one I prefer is the one on the far left. It provides you basically the name of the stack. So when you have multiple stacks on the page, you can kind of see what is what within your page. I think that's very, very valuable. If you've purchased my stacks in the past, you notice that I used to actually put the title of the stack itself within edit mode. Now with this new feature in Stacks 2, this is a lot cleaner. It's a better way. And all of my new stacks will leverage this instead of putting my own custom stack title within the stack itself. So the other view modes, this is the default view mode where you still have the blue outline for every single stack that's on the page. However, you don't have that, the annoyance of potentially seeing that title if you did not want to see it. And the last setting here is probably the setting that you'll get closest to what you see in preview mode. Okay, so if I were to look at this stack or this page currently in preview, we'll see the content area here. Now, if you notice, you remove all the borders, all the extra padding that Stacks adds, and this is basically, again, as close as you will get without switching over to preview mode. Now, if you do have stacks that are using sliders or some fancy JavaScript, that will not work in edit mode. Okay, so this is a great way to potentially preview static content within edit mode without having to switch back and forth to preview mode. So this is a very useful view. And that about does it for this video. I just wanted to do a really quick introductory to Stacks 2 and kind of what's changed and give you a quick feel of of the awesomeness that is coming your way. So I hope you enjoyed this screencast. I hope you download and check out Stacks 2. It is fabulous. It is available on special right now for, I believe the upgrade price is $15. So you can't beat that with a 10-foot pole there. It's a fabulous price. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.